Thank you for the organizers for giving me the opportunity to present this nuclear physics large infrastructure. Today I will present a big infrastructure, the FAIR project. It's a facility for antiprotons and ion research. Every time I will mention the word ion here, I mean nucleus. Why we call them ions is because in order to accelerate nuclei, you have to take the atom, ionize, and then be able to accelerate it, so we call it ion research. This facility is being built in Germany, in the state of Hessen, between Frankfurt and Darmstadt. And it is based on a previous facility with more than 50 years history, the DSI that you can see here, that already was dedicated to the investigation of nuclear physics through the accelerator and collisions of heavy ions. The present new facility is being constructed now, as you can see here. This is the old facility. You probably can recognize some of the buildings. Some of the accelerators that exist already here serve as injectors for the new facility. In the old facility, of course, we always build knowledge in something that we have done for some time, and these 50 years of experience, of course, put the basement for the new facility. In the old DSI facility, there were discoveries that probably all the people in the audience can understand, like, for instance, the discovery of 6 chemical elements, new chemical elements that are radioactive. They don't exist in our Earth, but we knew or thought that they could exist, so it was possible to synthesize them in the laboratory, and they give the names that, not surprising, one was called cesium because it was discovered in Hessen, and the other was called Darmstadtium because it was near Darmstadt. There was also an element called meitnerium in honor of the scientific Elise Meitner. Another big and important development in the previous facility, GSI, was the first treatment with carbon for tumor therapy. This that has been mentioned already in the previous talk was first realized here. The same accelerator that we were using to do our experiments could be used to investigate first on the capabilities and then on real patients to make tumor therapy with carbon. This technology was used to irradiate 450 patients at GSI, and then it was transferred to the hospital. The technology was transferred to the society, free of course, and now 2 hospitals in Germany use this technique, one in Heidelberg and one in Marburg, where now some few thousand patients are irradiated and treated every year. From all these chemical elements that you all know very well because you know the table of chemical elements, you know that the elements is defined by the number of protons in the nucleus. But for this number of protons, one can have different number of neutrons. They are called isotopes. And only few combinations of neutrons and protons produce an stable nucleus, and these are the ones that we have here in our Earth. But we know that much more possible isotopes exist or are possible, and they are depicted here. The black ones are the ones that we have in our cold, relatively cold planet, and the orange ones are the ones that have been synthesized in laboratories in several institutes, many of them at the previous facility GSI. And this is the number of protons that define the element, and this is the number of neutrons. And this island that we put here is the number the limit of the matter that we think might exist. Of course, nuclei are the next step in the hierarchy that it was explained by the previous speaker. It is when the elementary particles in the quarks confine in protons and neutrons, but these protons and neutrons make more than 99% of all the matter that it is around us. So it is important to understand where this matter comes from. No? It's a fundamental. But there is also an important question that it is where are all the elements formed in our universe. And up to date we understand relatively well how the light elements were formed. The first ones, of course, hydrogen and helium and lithium were formed at the first instance after the Big Bang. But up to iron, they are formed in the interior of stars, and this process is more or less understood. But how all the other elements, like gold, like lead, like uranium, normal elements that we have around, how they have been formed and became one day part of our planet, this is not at all well understood. And one of the processes that explain why these chemical elements are formed goes through a series of reactions and decays that go very far away from the nuclei we know. And therefore, one of the main purposes of this big new facility was to reach these exotic nuclei that are interesting in themselves, but also because they will help us to understand how the chemical elements in our universe are formed. So this is the facility for antiproton and ion research. Here in a map, I show you what was the old facility in blue, and in orange is what it is the new facility in blue. As summary, I can tell you that the main big advantage is the intensity. We will produce more intense beams in terms of primary beams, I mean the beams that we put in an ion source and accelerate, but also in secondary beams that are beams that are made of radioactive nuclei. It involves also a new dimension, and it is that it will also accelerate antiprotons. Antiprotons is a form of antimatter. In terms of the nuclear physics, European nuclear physics long-range plan, FEAR, as you see here, is from the building projects the one that has the highest priority in Europe. And coming back to the formation of the elements in our universe, here I present a time sequence of what has happened from the Big Bang in the time zero at very, very high temperature up to the present day. And here I show to you the places where the new facility FAIR will contribute to a better understanding of what has happened. One is when the quarks and the electrons, the elementary particles, were making a kind of soup, very, very dense soup. This is called the quark-gluon plasma. The next one is when these quarks are confined and form finally protons and neutrons. And then all the way, this you see is still at 10 to the minus 4 seconds. And then all the way up to now, many processes in many parts in our universe has happened or are happening in order to fabricate these other elements, and this is something that will be studied at NUSTAR. It is the new facility. It is formed in 4 big collaborations that are associated to big experiments. But of course, there is a lot of overlap between these experiments, and this is one of the advantages of FAIR, that it will be a very interdisciplinary research place. The antiprotons will be studied at PANDA. The highly dense quark-gluon plasma matter at CBM. Then we have a lot of applications in medicine, materials, plasma physics in APA, and then the new star that will investigate very exotic radioactive nuclei. The PANDA experiments is very interesting because, as it was mentioned in the previous talk, we still don't understand where is all this antimatter that it was created at the first instance of the universe, when we had as much matter as antimatter. Here, in general, in our world, we have only matter. A little bit of antimatter in some exotic decays, but in general, matter. We can, of course, create antimatter in our laboratories, but can we accelerate antimatter? This is something very difficult, because in order to accelerate something, this object has to be stable. And then the heaviest antimatter that we can accelerate now is an antiproton. It has, in relative terms, is a massive particle in comparison with the elementary particles. So at PANDA, we will accelerate and accumulate and make experiments with antimatter in the forms of antiprotons. And because we will be able to collide matter with antimatter, in this collision we can produce all kinds of particles. And this is a unique feature of PANDA, including hopefully, a very exotic particle that will be the composition of not the quarks, but the gluons that glue the quarks together. The other aspect that I mentioned already, compressed baryonic matter, this soup of quarks and gluons will be studied at CBM by a collision of very heavy ion towards a heavy ion. In this very massive, explosive collision, very energetic, very intense, we will be able for a few seconds to produce this kind of soup that was produced also in the formation of our universe, and that we also believe that exists in some astronomical objects, like, for instance, in the interior of a neutron star. And this experiment is very important because it will help understanding the phase space between having the quarks confined in hadrons as a function of the temperature and as a function of the intensity. At CERN, for instance, they will study more this temperature region. 5 minutes, thank you. Very high temperature region because they have higher energies, but at FAIR they will investigate more the part of very high intensity, very dense packed matter. The CBN experiment is the one that we will start working very soon, because it uses the heavy particle accelerator in our accelerators as it is. So the primary accelerated particles against a fixed target. And the place where this experiment will be, it is already here. Here is the old facility. Here you can see the traces of the big ring. It is depicted here. So the beam will be extracted from the accelerator and make it collide with a fixed target here. As I mentioned, between all these accelerators, ions, fundamental physics, there is a community that will use these very high energetic ions to study other things, like, for instance, the damage in materials or the damage in the cells. This is also very important for our missions in the space, including the missions with astronauts, because, of course, they are exposed to cosmic rays. Then back to the previous idea of studying the astrophysical processes that take place in our universe to to form the chemical elements, we go to the Nuestar collaboration. I have to mention that the Spanish participation in FAIR is focused especially in this collaboration. Here I show again the nucleic table that I mentioned before with the stable nuclei, the nuclei that we think might exist, and the process that we think is responsible for the creation of the most heavy elements. And here I show you what was possible to reach at GSI before. And in light blue, I don't know if you are able to see these little small points here. It is the extra dimension that we will reach with the FAIR project. So we will, in some cases, arrive to this astrophysical process. It's called the rapid neutron capture process, our process, that it is here in red, and in some cases to come a lot closer to the situation than we can do now. This interesting question where the chemical elements are formed in our universe got a boost with the discovery of the gravitational waves as a collision of two neutron stars, because in the luminosity that was produced after this collision, it was necessary to introduce this R process in order to explain the luminosity. With that, we had the first evidence, never ever, that the R process is taken in our universe in the collision of two neutron stars. It might be that it is also produced in some other collisions or explosions, but at least here we are sure that elements like gold, like silver, like lead, mercury, are formed. And how do we do that? We do that producing these radioactive nuclei. We take from the big accelerator the ions, make it collide with a target, and from this, again, this very energetic collision, many pieces are produced, and in these many pieces also exotic combinations of protons and neutrons, not the most probable ones that produce stable nuclei, but any other combination. Of course, if the balance between protons and neutrons are very extreme, we will produce these nuclei with less intensity, but some of them will be produced, and this will be then focused and separated in order to perform experiments at the various places that are depicted here. So here is the collision, here is the separator, and here are the experiments where we will put our detectors. As you see, this facility is being constructed now. It is not yet finished, but the old ESA facility is still working, and one of the things that the community with the directorship has decided and agreed is to use the instrumentation that we have been developing during all these years, about 15 years of R&D, in the old facility as a commissioning and also as an improvement setup for preparation of the start of the facility that will be approximately in the year 2026. This is this can only be done, of course, in a big collaboration, international collaboration, not like the old ESI was a national laboratory. This is an international laboratory. At the moment, there are 9 international shareholders that are depicted here in orange, but there are also users from other parts of the world, as you can see here in blue. The Spanish participation in FAIR has been very strong right from the beginning. Here you have all the institutes that and places where we have been constructing instrumentation for FAIR. In the words of the present director, Paolo Giubellino, Spain is one of the leading players in the FAIR project. There is a strong engagement in the FAIR. Over 50 scientists from 12 Spanish research institutes are participating, and we have also quite some visibility as, for instance, the spokesperson or the technical coordinators of one of the NuSTAR experiments, Dolores Cortina, here from Santiago, and all of them. And in terms of constructing instrumentation, you can see here also that many institutes have participated. We have constructed the gamma germanium arrays, neutron detectors, gamma fast timing detectors, gamma decay calorimeters, neutron time of flight detectors, high energy gamma and proton detectors, preparation trap. I think this is a good summary of all our involvement in instrumentation. As it was presented in the previous talk, all these technology developments also can be used to be applied to problems important for the society. As an example, because it is something I have very near my group, this neutron detector that we have developed for FAIR will be used now in a project to control the neutron doses in proton therapy centers. In terms of the NuSTAR, this collaboration, we are 6% of the collaboration, as you can see here. It is an important international effort with all this number of members, from which Spain is about 50, so an important part. We have also obtained good, important contracts with the industry, like for instance, the elite Spanish company has produced some superconductive magnets for FAIR and some radio frequency power supplies. So this is the collaborations of the 4 pillars of FAIR. Here is NuSTAR. And as a summary, I can tell you that FAIR will be a very important S3 roadmap facility for the next decades. It will provide the highest intense heavy radioactive beams worldwide and antiprotons. That the Spanish community has been very active in the research at GSI before. This was very important. We were there already with the previous facility. More than 30 PhD theses of our investigators are based on experiments done at GSI. And it has been very active in preparing new innovative instrumentation for FAIR. There is a little mismatch between the effort, the size, the visibility of the community, and the support we have obtained from our authorities so far. It is in the line of what was the rector intervention this morning. We have only obtained subventions for equipment, but not the support for a long-range participation in FAIR. But we keep trying. Thank you very much.